Hello, it's your favorite Ask Me Anything segment where I get to pose a work related question to Gerald. So, Gerald, let's get straight into it. Our listener Billy wrote in asking for advice on help with his job search. So, he says that he's concerned, and I'll read out. He says, regarding potential perceptions of job hopping due to several roles lasting less than a year, which were actually contract jobs. How can I best address this in my application to ensure that it's viewed positively? I understand Billy's worries. So increasingly, there are more people who don't stay long in a job, right? Not because they're fired or that they are fickle-minded, but maybe there are more opportunities available for them out there. There's a war for talent, right? So especially when contract roles don't last very long, how can you sell yourself better during the job application process?
I think you're right, Tiffany. There are many people now who have many contract jobs, and some of these contract jobs are really short, maybe a year, or even some of them less than a year. In Billy's case, right, are these contract jobs a series of similar jobs, or are they all very, very different?
Okay.
And it makes a big difference. Why? Right?
Yeah,
Because
why?
if you are in a series of very similar jobs, it goes to show that maybe there was instability in terms of the job stint,
Okay.
or tenure is short, unstable, but at least you were doing something similar.
I see. So if you are staying with maybe in a certain industry or maybe a certain job role.
That's right. So, and in all of these companies that you're working in, you actually were building some experiences. You're getting
Correct.
some diverse experiences in terms of working on different projects. So actually, it can be seen as a value add if you know how to present it well to employers. Now, on the other side, if you have a series of jobs that are very unrelated, you could be, for example, working in admin, and then after that doing accounts, and then after that, let's say working in F&B as a frontline. Like these kinds of contract jobs, they signal confusion to the recruiter.
That you
reading.
don't know what you want to do, that you are just, basically, if the next better offer comes, you will just jump anyway.
Yes, that's right. Just reading off a resume, for example, you don't get the chance to explain why the things are so different. So, that could be a bigger challenge lah. So it depends on which situation Billy is in. So contract jobs does not necessarily just mean that it's going to be a bad thing. But first, maybe we need to get what kind of roles were you doing lah.
So it's good to highlight, I guess, in your resume, make it very clear that you are not job hopping, but that you are actively searching out for contract roles that help to build your skills and your experience in a certain role or a certain field.
Yeah. So I think if we were to talk about, let's say, the situation where you have many contract jobs, but all being very similar,
Yeah.
right? So in terms of resume, when you're crafting it, you have to look out for the common experiences across these jobs, right? And bring it out clearly. What readers want to look out for is the consistency of what you're doing and the depth of what you're doing. As they're reading through all the different job experiences where you worked at, they can see something very clearly coming out. As they were reading every line, right? They can see that this guy or this person is really very skilled in doing this, has a lot of experiences in doing this. So that's in the resume part. Then during the interview itself, you have to be ready to explain your reasons for departure, right? Whether it's because it's contract ending or whatever reason. I think be honest to share that with them.
Okay.
I always advocate for getting testimonials, showcasing the awards that you have, so that at least people know it's not just, they're not judging you just based on how long you stayed,
Yes.
but they're looking at the quality of your work output.
That's
And this will
true.
help the employer to kind of dispel or break down the, like, oh, you are not a reliable worker image.
You're a job hopper. But what if I look back at my past and it's true, I have had different contract roles? Then how do I guess, pitch myself or put myself in a more positive light if I am quite serious about this next job that I want to try and apply for?
I think there is a fair bit of reflection and also reviewing and trying to understand, like, what was common, trying to find a common thread across all of these work experiences. Because when we can find a common thread across these experiences, it gives us something to present and to say to the employer, so that they can understand that it's not as unrelated as it seems on paper.
Yeah.
There was something that you were doing and building across all of these experiences. Now, the challenge here for most of us is we don't think that way. Maybe we really just applied for any job lah.
Because maybe we just needed a job at that point of time.
Yeah,
right?
correct. So that's why that we need to do this retrospective reflection, some hard work of maybe we can start by categorizing, looking at each job, right? Categorizing our likes and dislikes in each of the jobs, and then start to look at the commonalities between the likes and dislikes across the jobs. To really look at a job beyond just the title and where you worked at, but what were you doing in that job that made you happy, or you felt really very confident, you really enjoyed doing it, and what were some of the things that you really, really procrastinated on, you didn't like. And if you read across all of the contract jobs that you have, even though they're unrelated, you can see something emerge from there. And then from that, present that across through your resume or your interview. So like, in resume you have like the job title, right?
Yes.
And then you list out the bullet points.
Yes.
List out the bullet points that are common.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
So and so that the when the reader looks at the job listing, they're not assuming what they know based on a title.
Yes.
But they're looking at what you wrote and they're seeing that there are some commonalities across. Right. And also of course, in every resume format there is this skills section. Usually it's we advocate for it to be right at the top.
Okay.
Right, and this is the part where you start to put in the common keywords of skills that you have been using across these varied jobs, be it in marketing, sales, F&B, right? Is to pull out these skills to show that, hey, I've actually built these skills through all these different roles. So the employer is learning to see you for who you are rather than project their impression of you from the last job experiences you have had.
Yeah, and I think all that hard work that you mentioned, all the different steps of charting it down and putting it very clear also shows that you are a thinking employee, which I'm sure, hiring managers appreciate because they see that you don't just think with a tunnel vision, you can think laterally as well. You can see different threads, commonalities, and then pull them together.
Yeah.
That is also another skill. Well, Billy, remember that you aren't alone in this, okay? So if you found Gerald's advice helpful, useful, write to us again. Let us know how your job search is. If you also have a question, let us know. We're at CNA Podcasts at mediacorp.com.sg. Send us your questions and Gerald will answer for you.
I'm Gerald.
And I'm Tiffany.